Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back to Dream Big Today for the new nuggets. My name's Debbie. And so we are going to talk about Psalms 18, 1 through 15. Now there's more verses in chapter 18, so it's broken up for over the next day or so. But today in Psalms 18, 1 through 15, we get to talk about David, hear his thoughts whenever he's going through struggles, and that's generally what he does. But have you ever thought about writing in your journal a song, a poem? Maybe you draw a picture. I like to draw pictures. And just express all your thoughts and feelings about how God took you through something. Now, this psalm is where he addressed the words of this song to the Lord on the day when the Lord delivered him from the hand of all of his enemies and from the hand of Saul. And so he says, I love you, Lord. You are my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my Savior. My God is my rock, in whom I find protection. He is my shield, the power that saves me, and my place of safety. I called on the Lord who is worthy of praise, and he saved me from my enemies. Now you hear him say my in there 7 times in those 3 verses. And just think about what's the little ones learn when they start talking. My toy, my mommy, my cookie, my. It's just that little, sounds like that little one that just knows, because they know this is my mom, my dad, mine. David thinks of God as my. He is clinging just like that. And in these words that he's using also is he's characterizing God's care in like 5 military symbols. The rock that can't be moved by an enemy. A fortress where the enemy can't follow. A shield that comes between us and harm. A horn of salvation that's a symbol of might and power. A stronghold that's high above our enemies. Look to God for protection. And that's what I thought about whenever I was reading this morning. And so I'm going to show you. I did a little card that I like to do with what do I see in this. And today I see this castle, this big wall all around me that's protected from all 4 sides. And then I added later to it clouds over the top, because we're going to talk about the clouds. And it's all in the protection. And then as we read on in verse 4 through 6, it says, in my distress I prayed. David describes a particular danger that threatened to kill him. We have those particular dangers that scare us. It bothers us. It causes us concern or worry that we know we're not supposed to have worry. We're supposed to give that to God. But whenever we have that, physical, financial, family matters, whatever it is, it's just stressful, and we need to give that to God. And so then, in verse 7 on through the end of this today, this is the Lord's miraculous rescue. And it talks about all of the natural acts on earth. The earth quaked and trembled. The foundations of the mountains shook. Smoke poured from his nostrils. Fierce flames leaped out of his mouth. And it is very descriptive. And then we get to verse 9 through 12. David talks about the storm clouds, the rain clouds, the thick clouds. The thick clouds shielded the brightness around him and rained down hail and burning coals. So I want to talk about the ministry of the cloud. And I found this in a commentary by somebody, I can't pronounce their name, but I didn't write this. Clouds are the dwelling places of God. He lives in them. He moves through them. He permeates them with the gentle ministries of grace and love. The clouds do more than exclude sunlight, rains, flow through them, as well as mist and dew. The cloud may hide the light, but it doesn't destroy it. It doesn't disprove the light, it's proof of the light. When a cloud is forming, it means the sun is working. Raindrops can be traced into sunbeams, or traced to sunbeams. Love yearns to send a gentle rain, so love prepares the cloud, as the cloud is part of the answer for our prayer for dew. If I ask God for rain, I must not be discomforted by the appearance of a darkening cloud. The clouds, just such a shield over us. So if God is our strength and our rock and our fortress, and everything that David is talking about, just think then, this is all around us, then over the top of us is his shield, his cloud. I can remember one day whenever I was walking on a just terribly hot day, and I kind of not go out when it's like that now, but it was so hot, and I thought, man, I'm not going to be able to make this. But I happened to look up, and like all of a sudden, there's a shadow over me. But when I looked up, there was the tiniest little cloud up in the sky, and it covered the track that I was walking on. I was walking around the football stadium track, and it covered me. And I mean, the degree of heat dropped dramatically with that cloud. But I thought, he loves me so much that he sent one little cloud to just cover me because of the misery of being out in the hot. I truly believe that he sent that to me, and I will never forget it. It made a huge impression in my mind, in my life. And so the rest of this is talking about what all he did. Because David says back in verse 6, in my distress I cried out to the Lord. Yes, I prayed to my God for help. He heard me from his sanctuary. Remember, we talked in this morning in Chronicles, or 2 Chronicles, in Solomon's prayer, and God's answer is that he heard from heaven. Hear me from heaven. Hear me from heaven. Well, here it is with David. He heard me from his sanctuary, which is heaven. My cry to him reached his ears. So today, if you're going through something that's difficult and you've just been carrying that burden all on your own, don't do that. Give that to God. Let him know. He already sees it, and he's just sitting there. He's just saying, Debbie, why don't you pray? Why don't you talk to me about it? We'll get through this together because I'm already there with you. So let's do this. And so why don't you do that today? Give him all of your burdens, give him everything, and then believe. Do you believe in what you're reading in the Word? Do you believe God's promises? I do. Thank you so much for joining me today for these new nuggets. I hope that this gives you a boost for the rest of the day. You probably can probably say your prayer right now to help you get through the rest of the afternoon if you're in this work setting and it's just real tense and all of that kind of stuff. It makes a difference. So Elizabeth